We're here at the Fortress of Louisbourg, one of the largest historical reconstructions in North America. It is massive.
This site had an eventful but short-lived history. From critical base of operations to valued National Historic Site, it has always been a place where vast resources were expended. So we wonder, would or should another reconstruction of this magnitude be built again today?
So come along as we take a look. The site of Louisbourg was established in 1713, basically as a fishery base. And this was because of the Treaty of Utrecht, which had taken away all of Acadia and Newfoundland from France. So this was one of their last vestiges in this part of the world. What remained was largely Quebec, and they needed a base at the very entrance of the St. Lawrence to be able to protect what they thought of as the very heart of New France.
And perhaps above all, French interests in the lucrative cod fishery.
The Fortress of Louisbourg itself would be built between 1719 and 1745. It would first be attacked in 1745, the very year that it was completed. And it was attacked by New Englanders, who would hold it for an entire year. The French would come back to this site 3 years later, but by 1758, again, Louisbourg fell to the British. But this time, it would fall for the final time. The British decided that they would have to destroy the entire fort because they didn't want any opportunity for the French to take this strategic location ever again. So they razed it to the ground. The capture of this site would allow the British to take Quebec and ultimately the rest of New France. Is it fake? Is it real? Does it even matter? Let's go find out. As we've said, Louisbourg is the largest historic reconstruction in all of North America. Work on the reconstruction began in the 1960s following archaeological investigations that uncovered millions of artifacts, including foundations and fortifications. Not only did we have physical evidence in that way, but there was also a lot of paper documentation. 750,000 records were uncovered, and hundreds of maps and plans from all over the world, really. And these were all extensively examined to create this reconstruction. The total cost estimate for about a quarter of this site was estimated at about $25 million in the 1960s, which today would amount to around $230 million.
And this is not adjusted for equivalent, more adequate worker compensations today.
So, the big question is, would a site of this magnitude and subject matter be built today? It's a complicated question, really, and one that UNESCO has actually had a really hard time with. As a rule, they actually don't support reconstruction because they feel that it can lead to an erasure of history and actually creating a fictional place.
This going back to Didron, a 19th century historian and archaeologist who said, "For ancient monuments, it is better to consolidate than repair. Better to repair than to restore, and better to restore than to reconstruct."
A lot has changed since the 1960s. The technology we have available to us is amazing. We can do 3D modeling, we can do 3D printing, and also virtual reality. So we have a lot more at our disposal that they didn't then. So I think there's a lot more creative ways to actually be able to accomplish what Louisbourg does accomplish. One of the points that UNESCO does bring up is the fact that they will only consider a reconstruction if there's cultural value added. And I think a big part of this is that our values have actually changed.
And though we have evolved, it doesn't mean that forms of public engagement from the past should be dismissed. Just built up, adjusted, and enhanced.
I think reconstructions are a very interesting and accessible way to do public engagement in history. But I just don't think that it's the only way, especially nowadays. I think we have a lot more at our disposal that we can easily access as far as technology goes.
And this variety of options can be so positive for sites we already have.
I think in some ways you can see the Disneyfication of this site. It does step away from reality and doesn't necessarily portray what life was actually like during that time, how hard it was. Life at this site was not good. It was a harsh environment, troops were mutinous and underpaid, underfed, and this was not an easy place to live. But when you go there, it's very happy and exciting, and you kind of can't help but getting caught up in this reconstructed world. The reconstruction of the Fortress of Louisbourg did serve a purpose, but today there are better ways that don't involve Disneyfication and building over real history that was actually on this site.
It means that museums and public engagement venues in general must evolve to meet this shift. This includes the Fortress of Louisbourg. We're lucky to have this reconstruction, and embracing this new age of technology and our changed values will make it better stand the test of time and equip us to engage more thoughtfully into the future. Thanks for watching! Want more in-depth content? Check out our website where you'll find more detailed blogs and information, as well as some other fun stuff. And if you want to support our pursuit of accessible history, like, subscribe, or check out our Patreon, or any combination of those options. And of course, don't forget to check out our other videos. You never know what you might find.